Hello, everybody. Like my Adash said, my name is Radoslav Stankov. You can find me online as R. Stankov pretty much everywhere. And I'm also organizing a small conference called React.NotAConf in the beginning of the summer. As Radu said, I'm a head of engineering at Product Hunt. And today's talk, I won't have much code. I usually have a lot of code on my slides, but today I actually don't have a single line of code. But still, my slides are already uploaded here. And the reason I always upload my slides is I notice that during presentations, stuff like this happens. And I tend to switch slides really fast, really quickly, and people just lose the sight. Okay, I missed that slide. So yeah, the slides are already uploaded, and this will be my last slide. So do more. So today we are going to talk about this mythical base called productivity. And as everything in life, the thing we have to understand is everything is very context specific. It's very specific to ourselves, to the situation where we are at. It's very specific. It's always specific. It's always context specific. And let me tell you a bit about my context. The company I work for is a distributed company, like we technically don't have an official office. My teams are spread across Europe, Asia, and US. So this is where my team members are. We work remotely. I'm here. And we work at a startup. And in the startup, we have this saying that we are moving fast and we are breaking fast, or having breakfast. Depends how you read about it. And my work is, the way my work is measured is not how much time I spend in the office, because I don't have an office. So that will be a negative spending on my part. I'm measured by my output, how much stuff I'm producing in terms of results. And that's my situation. And all the things I'm going to tell you about today is some ground logic around productivity, some science between some weird stuff, and I'm going to share some of my productivity methods. Because let's face it, our developer productivity is not like a linear. During the day, we have ups and jumps in productivities. We have our own, and stuff gets messy really quickly. So this talk is more like Radu-approved methodology of how I work. The first term I'm going to share with you, it's called cognitive load. And this psychology load is how much resource we have in our head to get information, like how much information we can store in our head. And cognitive load is actually connected to something called ego depletion. And this refers to the idea that every time we make a decision, even small decisions, takes part of our energy. Like imagine that, you wake up, you hopefully had like a good night's sleep, and you start with your full battery. And you wake up and, okay, what should I have for breakfast? Okay, one decision there. What should I wear for work? Another decision. You go to work. Somebody asks you, what do you think about last night film or something else? And you have to think about that. Then you start working and somebody asks you something, another thing. And by middle of the day, your head is already at low battery case. And you get into this mode where you're like just sleepy. Okay, I want to sleep now. Or you go to the worst case, if you're part of this personality, when you get sleepy, you just get angry and you get explosive. And for me, I'm kind of a lazy person, to be honest. I don't want to work hard. I prefer to work smart. I just want to take some useful shortcuts and develop to be more smart on my work. And this is a quote from Ken Beck, and he says that he prefers to be a good programmer with great habits than a great programmer. And I kind of can relate to that. I want to have a good process, actually. And the way I define the word process, for me, it's automatic decisions for trivial questions and a framework to make other decisions. In better ways, make us make better decisions, and don't need to spend so much energy in useless stuff, basically. And my process and the things I'm going to talk about today is first setting up goals. Then I'm going to tell you how we are going to how I reduce cognitive loading, how I use capturing knowledge, and then I will share some tips about doing some tasks efficiently. And most probably the most controversial part of my talk is all my processes are digital first and are only digital. Like a lot of people say, yeah, I just bring a notebook and I write those beautiful notes every day. I just don't do that. I try that. Unfortunately, I cannot read my notes afterwards. I had such a bad writing. Also, the type checking and spell checking on my handwritten notes is not as I want it to be. Also, a lot of times when I was taking like a notebook and putting my ideas, I got ideas in the weirdest places, like in the subway, and it's really hard to get out like a big fancy leather notebook and start writing in the middle of the subway. That doesn't work. It's easier to just get your phone, type a couple of words, get out complete, and get it out of your mind. So yeah, let's start. The first thing is the goals. Like, if we don't have goals, if we don't know where we want to go, we would succeed at seeing where we go. But we won't know, did we want to go there? So I personally split my goals into 3 buckets. I set up yearly goals. Okay, this is what I want to accomplish this year. Then I say, okay, what do I want to accomplish this month? What's my goal for this month? And finally, I have these checking points of weeks. Like every week, I have those goals. And I split my goals into 3 contexts. Personal goals, things I want to do for myself, or like, okay, what I want to be as a person and all of that. Career goals, okay, where do I want to progress? Because again, we have to work. And the other one, it's actually connected to the other 2 is learning goals. What do I want to learn? How I want to improve myself in the coming year? And I try to keep my goals to be smart, like specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, timely. Or at work, since I work at a startup, we do this thing called OKRs, which the idea of the OKRs is you say, you basically define an objective and you define a key result. And the example here is, okay, I want to be healthy, but what does a healthy person mean? What does it mean to be healthy? And the key result of being healthy can be, okay, I want to be this amount of kilograms, and I want my blood sugar to be that much, and okay, what then, from having those key results, what do I want to do to achieve them? Okay, I want to go to the gym 4 times a week. I want to stop eating junk food. So I kind of do that. I'm starting to try it out, but again, I'm just trying to say just, okay, this is my goal, be healthy, do those, and see how it goes. But a lot of times when I say people about, okay, you have these yearly, monthly goals, and you have to do reviews, like every week you do reviews of your goals, people always said, that's too much time. I don't have time for that shit. It's too much work. It takes me too much time. I don't know. It's too mechanical. But I don't know, like the time I spent for reviewing my goals and setting my goals is actually 1 hour per week, every week. I usually do Sunday, like I just sit for 1 hour on Sunday, see, okay, what did happen this week to me? What did I do wrong? What did I do correct? How I can improve? How I do? And this is 1 hour, like 1 hour. Like you spent 1 hour in the bathroom. Like you can do the review there. Again, every 4 weeks, the month ends, usually. So you just take an extra hour, combine it with your weekly review, and you say, okay, well, this month, did I achieve what I wanted to achieve this month? Did I get that vacation I wanted to get? Why didn't I do that? And it takes 1 hour, like basically 1 hour. And of course, end of the year, after the big Christmas overeating festival, you're already tired, but you can spend 2 hours just sitting and say, okay, what was my year? What actually happened this year in my life? What were my high points? Like where I did good? What was the expected stuff? And I do that, and again, it's too much work again, and the way I diminish work is forcing myself to work. Like, I use this app Todoist for tasks, this note-taking app Bear for notes, and this app called day one for storing my reviews. So I have this automatic process. In Todoist, I have a reminders that every week, first day of the month, end of the year, and in my birthday, I'm born in May, so May is a very nice middle ground of the year to make like, okay, is this year going well? I just have a reminder which sends me a push notification, just do a 1 hour review at this day. And the other thing which helps me in this process is I use a lot of templates. I really hate to type. So I just have templates. Like every review I have follows the same format. My weekly review is like this. It's split into 5 sections. First is the goal of the week, which are split into personal and work. And did I do well or not? I use emojis because it has to look fun in the end. I say, okay, this week, what did it happen this week? What happened in my personal life? What happened at work? I also say, okay, what do I want to achieve next week? I write some random thoughts, like what was on my mind this week. Like, for example, this week I needed to do a lot of things. And one of the things on my mind was this conference, this talk. And I have like a small summary here in the bottom where it's like some free-fall text if I think about something. It's random text usually with a lot of typos. The monthly retrospective, it's very similar. Again, I just copy the note, use it. I have the similar thing for yearly, pretty much the same format. And for me, what the biggest change I did this year is I added the emojis to tell me if I'm doing my goals correctly. And they are not only up and down, but these thinking emojis, because a lot of times you actually cannot see if your actions do stuff. Also, I'm very big into minor life hacks. So one life hack I do every week is I start with a really small goal. Like something which I can achieve probably on Monday, feel good about myself. If I don't do anything this week, I'll be feeling good. I'll be feeling happy. I'm moving forward with my life, and that's fun. And having goals, it's nice. Like, again, goals are out of my head. All the stuff is... The next thing I'm focusing is reducing my cognitive load. Like, my brain is not infinite, unfortunately. I have a battery in my head. Think about that. And every time I put and I do stuff with my head, it takes my energy. And I need time to think. Like, I think most of us, if we just do stuff, we don't have enough time to think. And the way I'm handling the cognitive load is I basically try to remove stuff from my head. And I remove those stuff from my head by those 5 things. First, I have a routines. This is stuff I pretty much do every day or stuff like that, which basically I don't think about those. Like, those are automatic decisions. Like, for example, going to a gym, doing a gym session, okay, I don't care. Like, I know what I have to do. My mind actually don't think about it, my body does. I have a lot of reminders. Like, everything I need to be done, it's in a reminder, okay, just do it. I don't have to remember, what should I do now? I use a lot of checklists. Like, in a lot of operations, a lot of things we do have to do a lot of steps. And I use a lot of templates. Like, I try not to write things 2 or 4 times if I can avoid it. And I do a lot of automations. So basically, the biggest focus for me is, okay, getting to what's next, getting to what's the next thing I have to do. And for those, I just use a to-do app. I just have everything there. I have, okay, what's the next thing that has to be done? It's there. For example, I have this flow that I'm just browsing the internet, see some interesting link, and the worst thing that can happen for me is I'm in the middle of a cool task, find a cool link, and now just start following it and go the rabbit hole of reading some stuff which is fun, but won't just going to move me around. So I have this process when I see an interesting link, I set a reminder that I will check this link in Saturday. I have 1 hour just blocking Saturday. Okay, this is my time to read some fun links every week. And if I cannot read the link, that means it's not important. I remove a lot of the links. Usually I accumulate like 20, 30 links. I read 10 of them, remove the rest because it's like too much noise anyway. The other example is I travel a lot. Like this year, I think I have been to 8 conferences, speaking at 6, and I travel a lot. So you know how bad it is to pack for traveling? Like all the stuff you need to forget, all that stuff, which is always the same. So I have a checklist in Todoist. Okay, what is the stuff I need to do when I travel? And for me, it's that first, I have a checklist of stuff I need to research for the country. For example, if you go to a country, can I drink water from the tap? Or I have to get a bottle of water? Like, that's a very good question. I check what's the currency there? What's the policy for tipping? Should I tip or should I not tip? And what are the power outlets? That's something you can actually get very unprepared if you travel. Also, I have stuff about the luggage. I basically have a simple formula based on like, okay, I'm there for 2 days, how much clothes I need. If I'm there for 1 week, 4 days, it's basically how much clothes I need. I also have stuff to do before leaving. For example, I don't want to burn my apartment. So I just go back and check if every outlet is turned off. Like, stuff like that, because how many times remember, like I had my mother does this all the time, we're getting out, when I was a kid, going to some friends, and in the middle of the road, my mom is the stew on or is the iron on? Come on, now go back home and check if everything is off. Like now with smart lights and switches, you can actually mitigate that, but I still don't have that. Also, I have stuff I do every time I get to a new country. Like, for example, buying souvenirs. Like, that's when I arrive at the airport, I buy souvenirs, put them in my bag, so I don't worry that when I'm back, my friends and relatives are going to be very disappointed I didn't bring them something. Also, I keep a document about all the information I need for when I travel. Like all the contacts, the hotel information, if I'm going to events, the dates, locations, bookmarks on cards, links to the Wikipedia page of the country, the city. It's good to actually know how many people live in the city you go. I also keep emergency phone numbers. Hopefully, I have never used them before, but it's good to have them. All the flights. So I basically have this on my phone, so I don't worry. It's offline support and all of that. And again, one of the life hacks I do is every night before going to bed, when I'm already tired, I just pack my clothes, and this is the clothes for tomorrow. Just get them up. So in the morning, when you get out, you don't have to think about, okay, what should I wear now? Should I wear this shirt or t-shirt? Which of my 2 black t-shirts I should wear today? That's a very deep question, which I used to have. And doing a lot of that, I noticed I started doing a lot of like capturing knowledge. Like this is the quote from the guy who wrote Getting Things Done. And it's one of my favorite quotes is like, our head is for having ideas, not for storing them. I basically try to put everything out of my head because I don't want to rely on that device here. It's not very reliable. So usually the process is in Rado's head, there is some idea, it happens. I store it into a bare note, very big shortcut on my phone, put the idea in, and if this idea needs to be acted upon, I put it into Todoist, like do something else. Like, okay, maybe I should buy this new lamp. Okay, add it as a to-do buy it or something like that. So this is actually a real screenshot of my Todoist sidebar. This is basically my note-taking, my personal database. And if you notice, I have a folder called templates. Like I have a lot of templates. Like for example, I have templates for meetings. I have direct reports. So every one-on-one I do have the same format. All my traveling has the same format. When I want to learn a subject, I have a template about, okay, what do I need to learn, how I need to do it. And it's fun because I don't need to think about much that. This is like thoughts, like random thoughts. Like for example, now I'm telling you something and I have this nice idea which is coming to my mind. I would just stop, open my phone, go there, write this quick idea and have it there. End of the week, I'm just going to pass through all my thoughts and think, that was stupid. Why did I think that? But I want to focus you on one thing, which I think would be very useful for pretty much everybody. It's my personal how-tos. It's just a set of documents for stuff I don't know how to automate. For example, I don't know how many of you use Macs, but there is this weird bug which happens sometimes where you lose your audio. And this usually happens when you use some conference call tool, and that's the fix basically. I actually don't remember the fix, it's over here. So every time I lose audio, I open this note, I do the things step by step. I work with a technology called GraphQL, and it has something called introspection. I always forget the syntax, so I just have it here. I also use a database called Postgres, and I always forget how I use JSON with Postgres. The syntax doesn't stick for me for some reason. So I have this file here where I have some code which I can just copy paste and play with this. And it's basically, I do this for a lot of like Stack Overflow things. And this is the life hack from this session. Like, it's very simple when you, for example, search an issue and you notice, I'm seeing the Stack Overflow answer 2 times now. Maybe I should just store it for safekeeping if the internet removes it. The next part is effectiveness. Like, the effectiveness, like you want to be able to do your task fast. Like, all that other stuff, it's nice, but if you spend 5 hours working on a single thing because you are constantly distracted, that's not very good. That's me, by the way, in this picture. Noticed no mouse, Vim user here. So there is one thing which it's called flow. And this is the state, like it's the state where we as engineers especially are very, like when you say the flow, everybody knows what we talk about. It's this moment where you just sit on the keyboard and you fly, like you fly to the tasks, like the code writes itself. Your fingers are just doing some weird behavior on the keyboard. And one of the biggest issues for the flow, the biggest killer, is called task switching. And you can see it with this image. You are in the zone, everything in your head, like you have building these special symbols. And then somebody asks you, what time it is today? Do you think it's going to rain? And you have no idea what you have done, what you have thought like 3 seconds ago. Like you would need at least half an hour to get back into the zone. So this, especially since I work remotely, it's very easy for people to, like when you work in an office, like people say, yeah, people distract you, but if you look menacing, like with a black t-shirt with skulls, and you have like headphones, big ones, especially with red blinking lights to say in danger, people don't bother you much. But when you're remote, they don't know that. So the notifications just piling up on Slack. So I used to use a technique, I still use it, there is this Pomodoro technique. People use it to get into the zone and focus. It's simple technique. You say, okay, I need to do this. You set a timer, usually 25 minutes, might be more. You work on that task. You don't do anything else. Like, you don't do anything else. You put like a sign, don't bother me, don't feed the engineer sign here. And after the task is done, every 25 minutes, take 3-5 minutes break, then go to step 2. And after a couple of Pomodoros, you do that. Like, it's a famous technique. I used to do it. It didn't work very well for me. But the thing I started to notice, and this is the place where I use Pomodoro to this day, it helped me start focusing. Like, there is tasks which I know I have to do, but I don't want to. So what I say is, okay, I don't want to do these things. I will just do this Pomodoro for 25 minutes just to get me started. And when I get started working on it, after the first or second Pomodoro, the work stack works by itself. Especially good when you do boring work. Pomodoro is amazing because you say, yeah, after these 25 minutes, I'm just going to have to see what's on this YouTube video. I really want to see what's happened with this cat. Also, I use Pomodoro for time estimation. Like, people are not very good at estimating tasks, or managers are particularly bad at that. Like, if I ask you how much time something is going to take, the longer time you tell me, the bigger your mistakes is going to be. We tend to we tend to be over positive. If you tell me this task is going to take 20 minutes, how wrong can you be? most probably you will be pretty right. 20 minutes, you can do it in 20 minutes. If you tell me this task is going to take an hour, it might take like 56 minutes or 62. If you tell me this task is going to take like 1 day, it will take 1 day and 2 hours from the next day. Like you over jump one. And imagine if you say this task is going to take me 6 months, usually it takes you 2 years. True story. And for me, Pomodoro also helps me for time boxing and experiments. Like, I'm wondering, should I pursue this very weird idea I have right now? And I can pursue it for like a whole week and not do anything if it's not successful, or I can do a small experiment for 25 minutes. So this is a thing I do with Pomodoros. Also, the other thing I do is I eliminate distractions. Like, I notice which sites I'm looking at, and I actually go to etc hosts with the one with the Unix machines and block those sites. Like basically, sometimes I just block Facebook. Like, okay, I put there forward to port 0, forward to 00 localhost and don't care. Like the world won't end if you don't see your Facebook today. It actually might get better. Also, I'm very aggressive with reducing the notifications for my apps. Like if I just, every time an app asks me, do you want to give me permissions to push you, I say no. And sometimes when I don't have what to do is I just go to apps and removing permissions for pushes, which I go through. And also sometimes when I do Pomodoros, I do the do not disturb mode. Like I go to this mode where nobody disturbing me. Like there isn't many emergencies happening. Like the life hack from this section is just try work 1 day, just 1 day with all notifications turned on. It will be weird, but you would notice how much work you do. And talking about like work and waste, like one of the biggest wasters is this thing called email. Like emails are like those cute bunnies. They're just piling on top of you. They're like so cute, so nice, this nice email from my friends. And in the end, you suffocate with them. You just get dead. So this is my inbox. This is a screenshot for like 2 days ago, but this is basically how my inbox looks like pretty much whole day. I have 6 inboxes. I have 2 personal ones. I have one for me, one for registrations on sites. This is the one which I use to log into most of the unimportant sites. I have 2 company emails. I have one email for my conference where I talk with speakers and other people, and I have another email which I have no idea why I use that email for. And if you notice, like I have 0, my inbox is 0, like every day. I have 0 inbox. I don't know how many emails I get a day, to be honest. I don't count them because I don't see them. So I use this small group of techniques. Like I'm very aggressive to click the unsubscribe button. If there is an unsubscribe button, I would click it. Like I'm subscribed to a lot of like newsletters. Like I get a lot of those developer newsletters where they aggregate links. There is actually, right now I'll be trying an app which aggregates all the newsletters into a single newsletter. So in the end of the day, I just get like 100 links, not 5 emails. Also, I try to move a lot of the communication I do out of email. Like in my team, we have the rule nobody emails me for anything. We just use Slack, where I can ignore it, when I can delegate it, and it can be more filtered. Also, sometimes you get some emails, which you just random emails you get. And there is this feature in most email clients, especially Gmails, where you can auto-forward those emails, mark them as read, put them in some random folder and forget about them. I have a lot of those. Like basically stuff which I don't care about, but I have to get. I use a lot of templates. Like for example, my favorite template, I don't care about your service, I don't want to use it, I'm not very interesting, please don't email me again. Because I get a lot of emails from services, oh, I think you would like to use our service, and I'm like, no. And the other thing is I have this rule. If, for me, answering this email is going to take me less than a minute, and you get really proficient at that, I just do it in the second. Like, often I'm just saying yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, bye, 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 and so on. And I use a couple of buckets. I have a to-do bucket where it's email which I need to do something and come back to somebody. This is often paired with like a reminder to do some work. I have waiting on somebody else. That's my favorite ones. Like just tell somebody else, yeah, do something, and okay, I don't care, you have to do it. And I have this third folder, it's called bookmarks. There is some mail threads where there is nothing actionable, neither for me, neither from the other side, but I just want to keep reference. Like a good example for this is when I organize conferences and events, I have email threads with the speakers, and there is nothing actionable at the moment, like we get their tickets, they agree, but I keep the whole email conversation there just in case for stuff, and I use reminders for follow-ups. The email client-specific features, which I really like, is having a unified email box. Like I have 6 emails. If I have to open 6 tabs or having switch between those, it will be a nightmare. I used a lot of the snooze notification. It's like when you swipe, usually it's with yellow color, and I push the notification from 1 hour later, 10 hours, never. Again, use a lot of templates, and there is this feature, I don't know, Android most probably supports it, but on iOS, it's smart notifications, like Facebook have this for Messenger, like, and a lot of email clients have it. Like, you have a desktop client and a mobile client, and you get notification on your phone and on your desktop that you receive an email. If you open the email on your laptop, the notification on the phone is just going to disappear. Like the Messenger has this feature. If you notice, you get a lot of messages on your phone, then you open the Messenger on the web. Oh, the phone notifications are gone. That means that the notifications I see on my phone screen are the things I actually have to care about. So to repeat, that's my process. I get an email, quick reply, go to do, waiting, bookmark, and occasional snoozing. One of my colleagues, ex-colleagues, had this wonderful way of working with emails. Like this guy receives like 2-3 times more emails than me, and actually he still lives. Tools, like I'm an engineer, I really like tools. Like I like to have my tools. Like we noticed from the previous talk, like Vim, and again, Vim. But yeah, like you can use Vim, Visual Studio Code, Vim, I don't care, like whatever you use, I use Vim. You can use whatever, but the idea here is you need to tune your environment. Like those tools are very good, they're very general, but you are not a general person. Like you're very specific and you have your specific needs. So I'm going to share a workflow not with Vim, but with a tool called Alfred. It's an application launcher. So if you noticed, if you have paid attention to my talk, I use a lot of GIFs. And I have a shortcut in Alfred where I write GIF and the word awesome, for example. And this opens a browser with awesome, with Giphy. And it's nice, I search and I find this wonderful nailed GIF. I want to put it in my slides. But I don't know how many of you have tried to get a GIF from Giphy. Usually they're really good for embedding and not very good for direct uses. You have to, me as engineer, I just go Chrome, inspect, do and that. So what I did was I noticed this URL here, it's the ID of the GIF. And from this GIF, from this ID, you can actually download the video file of that. So I have this convert to Giphy shortcut where I just get the MP4 from Giphy. And this actually saved me, I think, a couple of hours of just randomly opening Chrome Inspector, like just basically nailing that. And this is a lot of what I do. Like when I do something more than 3 times, I get bored. I get bored very easily and I don't want to be bored. So I just do some minor things with that. And the thing about it is the more customizations, the more you tune your tools, the better you get at that. And a life hack is like whatever editor you use, notice something you do every day with it, which takes more steps than you want to, and make it easier. Of course, I really like books, especially audio books, which some people argue are not real books, but I would argue falsely. So there is those 5 books which are really good for getting you, like, okay, productivity, like Pragmatic Programmer, I think is one of the really great books you have to read. Soft skills and peak performance are nice. The checklist manifesto is very interesting. It talks about the idea of basically having checklists and how they're different from reminders. Getting things done is a bit controversial book because it's a very mechanical thing. And for my talk, you would think I like mechanical, but it's very too mechanical for me. But the whole book can be synthesized into 4 core principles. Like the first principle is capture everything. Like, again, your head, ideas, store stuff. The second concept is the concept of context, basically. The idea that you work in different environments. Home, you have tasks for home. You don't need to worry about your home tasks when you're at work, and vice versa. There is this concept of weekly reviews, which I think is one of the most important. The idea you have this dedicated time when you sit and think about what you have done, positive or negative. And the final one is next actions, knowing what the next action is. So let's do the quick recap. Like, we covered a lot of ground. Like, the best thing is that, I saw this quote somewhere on the internet, is that every productivity system kind of breaks because our life breaks. I mean, not in a bad way, but we evolve and we cannot do much about it, but we just have to accept it and try to just get better. Like, if I give this talk last year, if I was giving this talk, it will be very different from today. And if I give it to next year, hopefully it will be different. So it's a very specific way. So today we covered like a lot of terms and vocabulary, like especially the cognitive load, ego depletion, and all those fancy words. Goals and reviews. This is, I think, one of the core things. Like, if you can measure your progress, seeing where you go and trying to optimize stuff naturally falls to place. Having routine makes you just be effective. And there is a lot of tools you can use. And you can use checklists, reminders, templates, minor automation. And again, the idea is just improve your workflow one step at a time. Just make this shortcut, like make this snippet in your code editor. Like, every time you define a React component, just make it a snippet. And yeah, that's basically what I wanted to share with you today. Thank you.
Good job, Adash.
Thank you, Adash.
We have...
This word Adash really sounds weird in English.
Yeah. I think what we can do one question, so raise your hand quickly if you want to ask. Please stand up.
Great. Hello, Rado. Thank you for the great lecture. Would you mind sharing your templates on GitHub if it's not too specific and too personal for you?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry, I didn't hear it very well.
Could you share your templates on GitHub?
Kind of. Some of them are actually with private, but yeah, most of those I can share them with GitHub. They're in my, I have a dot files. If you go to my GitHub profile, there's my dot files with all my Vim shortcuts, templates, scripts. Bare templates are not there, but I can move some of them.
Thank you.
No worries.
That's it. A big round of applause for Rado.